They lose, win, they just come to make business. But I'm coming for take this belt.
You hit me, and I say, okay, let's play this game. I like playing this game.
One of the best fight night events is coming up. A matchup with enormous title implications. Number 3 lightweight Beneil Dariush against number 4 Islam Makhachev. This event is amazing even outside the main event, with fellow lightweight prospects Arman Tsarukyan and Joel Alvarez going at it, as well as names like Ryan Spann, Mahmoud Muradov, and Terrence McKinney feature on the card. The main event is the cherry on the cake, as the winner may very well be in line for a title shot after Justin Gaethje. This is if Conor McGregor doesn't jump the line. This is definitely a matchup to look forward to, and we here at Athlete Central are here to tell you everything you need to know about it in this ultimate fight breakdown. Form. Let's start off with Khabib's teammate Islam Makhachev. After his first ever loss against Adriano Martins in 2015, the Dagestani wrestler has gone on a 9-fight winning streak in the UFC. He started it off with convincing decision victories over UFC vets Chris Wade and Nick Lentz, with the latter being a big step up in competition. Islam followed these victories up with an amazing 2018, finishing both Gleison Tebow and Cajun Johnson in the first round. He then faced one of the toughest tests of his career, Arman Tsarukyan. Not many people gave Arman a chance, considering it was his debut and it was on short notice against a killer like Islam. The Armenian surprised many, doing incredibly well in the wrestling exchanges and resisting Islam's grappling effectively.
Tsarukyan here is ridiculous. He is battling back. He's getting his own takedowns. He actually was able to take Makachev down.
Makachev was still in control though through the scrambles and earned an impressive victory that has aged very well, considering Arman has gone on a 4-fight winning streak since that fight. If you love grappling, definitely go back and rewatch this fight. Then came a matchup against Brazilian BJJ black belt Davi Hamish. Many doubted whether Islam will be able to utilize his wrestling against someone who was so well versed on the ground, but Makachev did not disappoint and got a unanimous decision victory against Hamish. Makachev had 3 bouts canceled in 2020 against Alex Hernandez and twice against Rafael Dos Anjos, but 2021 was his most successful year ever and made up for the lack of activity in 2020. Islam got 3 different submission victories, starting off with the absolute mauling of Drew Dober at UFC 259. Islam was dominating the American for the first 2 rounds, landing devastating ground and pound that left Dober's face in a pool of blood. He ended the fight mercifully with an arm triangle choke in the 3rd round, really putting his name on the map. He then competed in his first ever main event against BJJ wizard Thiago Moises. Yet again, Islam was dominant as ever, controlling the Brazilian for 3 rounds and sinking in a rear naked choke to close the fight out in the 4th round. His last opponent was arguably his toughest test yet, number 6 ranked Dan Hooker. This time Islam did not wait for the latter rounds and blitzed Hooker with an early takedown that led to one of the best submissions of 2021, a devastating Kimura that left Hooker screaming, leading to a verbal submission.
Now it's time. Before it was like top 11, top 15 somewhat, but this guy number 6. Now I have to talk. How many fights? 9? 9-fight win streak. I'm ready for title fight.
Beneil Dariush has gone on an impressive streak of his own since his shock loss to UFC debutant Alex Hernandez. The first 2 victories were actually common opponents for both fighters, Thiago Moises and Drew Dober. Dariush absolutely dominated Moises with 30-25 and 30-26 scorecards across the board in an incredible performance, a great way to bounce back from a surprise loss. The Dober victory was an armbar finish in the 2nd round, equally as impressive. He followed this up with a first-round rear-naked choke finish over Frank Camacho toward the end of 2019, with people calling for him to fight a ranked opponent after that fight. This did not materialize though, and he fought Drakkar Klose at UFC 248. The first minute of that 2nd round is one of the most entertaining minutes of a fight you will ever see. maybe next to Czech Congo versus Pat Barry. Close rocked Dariush but got overexcited and went for the finish. Dariush showed resilience and a granite chin in this exchange and managed to rock close, finishing him with a beautiful overhand left. 2020 was the year of incredible finishes for Dariush, as he beat Scott Holtzman with a spinning back fist in August, leaving no doubt to the fact that he deserves a ranked opponent. Carlos Diego Ferreira was his next opponent to kick off 2021. Ridiculously, that fight was a split decision victory for Beneil, despite all of the MMA outlets scoring the fight for Dariush, most of them 30-27, and 93.9% of fans also scoring it for him. Beating the number 9 in the division earned Dariush the biggest fight of his career against fan favorite Tony Ferguson. As a fan of Tony, it was very hard to watch that fight. Dariush dominated Tony bell to bell with his incredible wrestling and got Tony in a nasty knee bar that Ferguson didn't tap to. Dariush claims that he heard the pop in Tony's knee.
Popped. I heard a big pop. I asked him afterwards. He's like, no, nothing. Man, he's a zombie.
But El Cucuy has his nickname for a reason, and incredibly did not tap. Dariush's dominant victory earned him the number 3 ranking in the division, leading to this potential title eliminator with Islam Makhachev.
Attributes.
Both fighters are in the prime of their careers, Dariush at 32 years old and Islam at 30, a perfect age for fighters looking to capture the belt in the near future. The fighters are very similar when it comes to their measurements. Both are 5'10", but Dariush has a slight 2-inch edge in reach. Islam hasn't had many problems making weight, but the same cannot be said for Dariush, who missed out on his performance of the night bonus against Holtzman for missing weight.
Striking.
At first glance, you would expect Beneil to have the better striking, considering he is the more well-rounded fighter, while Islam relies mainly on his grappling to win fights. So let's take a look at it statistically. Beneil lands 3.8 significant strikes per minute, a whopping 1.6 more than Islam's 2.2, backing up the fact that Islam doesn't really rely on his striking. However, his grappling-based game plan means that he absorbs way less significant strikes than Dariush, standing at 0.79 significant strikes absorbed per minute, which is microscopic compared to the 2.58 that Beneil absorbs.
Fun fact.
Islam Makhachev holds the UFC record for least strikes absorbed per minute. This is an incredible feat considering the presence of dominant fighters like GSP, John Jones, and his close friend Khabib. The record highlights how efficient Islam is and just how dominant he is on the ground, not leaving his opponents any room to land strikes and dictating where the fight takes place. When it comes to accuracy, Dariush has a striking accuracy of 49%, way lower than Islam's 58% because he utilizes ground and pound more than Beneil. In terms of defense, Islam has a higher percentage yet again, standing at 70% compared to Beneil's 58%. Neither fighter is a big knockout artist. Both have 21 victories. Dariush has ended 5 of his wins via KO/TKO, while Islam has ended 3 of his in that fashion. As expected, Beneil is more active on the feet, leading to more significant strikes and also more damage absorbed than Islam.
Grappling.
While Islam's grappling is incredible, Beneil also has that in his arsenal. So let's see whose statistics are better. Islam lands 3.37 takedowns per 15 minutes, more than one every round. Dariush lands a bit less with 2.11, but his takedown accuracy is what's quite surprising, standing at a measly 34%, almost half of Islam's 66%. That Dagestani background really is something. When it comes to takedown defense, both fighters have a high percentage, but not many fighters try to take them down. Beneil has an 81% defense rate and Islam is at 88%. Both fighters have a variety of submissions in their arsenal and they try them quite often. Islam attempts 1.3 subs per 15 minutes and Dariush attempts an even 1. Both fighters are prolific at finishing them though, with both having 8 submission wins on their record. Islam's go-tos are triangle choke, the rear naked choke, and the arm bar, while rear naked chokes make up the majority of Beneil's sub wins. Clearly, Islam beats out Dariush in all categories. His grappling is statistically far superior to the Iranians.
Prediction.
This fight has many interesting scenarios. Dariush might have the advantage on the feet, but Islam showed off his striking arsenal in the Moises fight, and all his coaches praise him for his stand-up, claiming it's better than Khabib's. So beating him on the feet is not a piece of cake, even though he definitely prefers the fight on the ground. Same can be said for Dariush on the ground. He is an accomplished wrestler in his own right, and Islam won't be able to control him easily. That is what makes this matchup fascinating. Dariush has been submitted before, and his 3 KO losses speak to the fact that he doesn't have the best chin. If the fight stays standing, Dariush will be worrying about the takedown from Islam, which is what makes every top-tier wrestler dangerous on the feet, the element of surprise. Dariush may focus on defending the takedown way too much and get cracked by a right hand from Makachev, same way Khabib knocked down Conor in their fight. However, if he keeps his cool, he has shown that he also possesses power and could very well land something on Islam the same way Adriano Martins did in Islam's sole loss. On the ground, Islam has never really shown any flaws. Arman gave him the toughest test on the ground, but he is a master of sport in wrestling, so it's interesting whether Beneil's strong grappling will have any answer for Islam's. Statistically, it doesn't seem so, but anything could happen in a fight. That's what makes this sport beautiful. The bookmakers favor Islam Makhachev heavily, valuing him as a -330 favorite, with Beneil being a +265 underdog. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Who would you guys put your money on? Drop your fight predictions in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe to never miss an Athlete Central video. Until next time.